and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Videomail for the week of October 31st, 2011. Happy Halloween. 5 video mails in October, lucky you. Don't forget, I'm going to be archiving all the video mails from the month of September tomorrow, so definitely watch them if you haven't watched them already. Sometimes I go a little slow and it takes a second to do it. Hopefully you've seen all the content and you're not behind or anything, and so we're all going to be all caught up together. So this video mail, I did a poll. All right, not only can you send in your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com and get your question answered in a video just like this one, but I just did a poll because I had a question asked of me and I didn't know if I'd done it before. First of all, because I've spoken so many times on this subject, I was sure that I had done one for you guys. But lo and behold, I hadn't, and I did a poll, and it looks like a lot of people responded, and this got an overwhelming response, a positive response. And so here we are. So I'm really excited to present to you the first polled Ask Video Mail question, which is: demo reel guide. Fantastic. Thank you for the great question. And I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a poll asking whether or not you want to be polled for video mail questions in the future. I don't think I'm going to poll every single one, but if I'm like on the fence of which one I think I should do, I might ask you, just so that I'm sure that everyone's getting the kind of content that they want. If you haven't submitted a question to be answered in the video mail yet, that is the best way to participate in the site and get the most for your subscription. But answering the poll is another good way to have your voice heard. So look out for that on the member portal. Right when you log in, there should be a poll there that's updated with a new question. Okay, so back to the question, demo reel guides. I've given so many to my animation mentor students that I was positive that I'd given one to you guys already. So let me just touch on a few topics. First of all, length. How long does it have to be? I've heard people being hired from a reel that was 30 seconds long. I would say 30 seconds is the low threshold though. It's got to be about 30 seconds long, or there's just not enough work there that I'm sure that you actually have a workflow that is repeatable, that you actually know what you did every single shot on your demo reel. So 30 seconds is probably the cutoff. And 2 minutes is the upper threshold. I can't sit around and watch something that's longer than 2 minutes long. There's just no need for it. All of my friends who are pros, who have really, really awesome demo reels, they're all somewhere around 2 minutes, maybe 2:30, but you get the gist of it after the first minute. And most people who are hiring will probably stop the demo reel after that anyway. Okay, so between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. Now, what should go on there? Of course, your best work should go on there, but there's a little bit of discussion as to the order of your work. If you guys are students or it's the first demo reel you're going to be sending out, you're going to have some things on there that are kind of rudimentary. You might have some bouncing ball tests, you might have some pendulums or some balls with a tail or a flour sack or something like that. The thing that I like to say though is that there's 2 points, there's 2 sides to this argument. Some people like to say that you put your best work first and then you just gradually get to your older and less impressive stuff. Other people say put something that is like a warm-up, so that right when they start the reel, they're distracted and they start finding and start paying attention, and then bam, you hit them with your best shot. So you kind of do a little bit of creative editing to get your animation to have the greatest impact. I like that second theory. I do think that people are distracted and they take a second, like maybe a shot, to get into your demo reel and to be ready to kind of like see your style. And then bam, you hit him with your best shot. And then I like to interpolate those, the tests, mix them in with the other impressive shots, if it's a body mechanics or if it's a dialogue shot or anything like that. So if, let's say you had 5 shots on your demo reel, okay, then the first one would be maybe your third best shot, and then bam, your first best shot. And then maybe your fifth best shot. And then your fourth best shot. And then finish strong with your second best shot. So I said 3, 1, 5, 4, 2. All right. Then there's not like they don't turn it on and they just can tell, oh, these are getting worse and worse and like older and older and older. And once they see a bouncing ball, they're just going to turn it off because they're like, there's nothing after that. Okay. Now, what kind of content? A little bit deeper into this topic here. So you need to have good mix of body mechanics and acting. You need to have subtlety and you need to have broad strokes, really, really physical work. Okay? However, it's really difficult. It's exponentially difficult to do longer animation. I've always said that a 1,000 frame shot is 10 times harder than 10 100 frame shots. All right? There's just so much going on in there. Okay? Especially if you're trying to do physical work. So that's why in the articles, the Staying Motivated Part 1 article that's still available, I don't ever archive the articles, by the way, so you can read back and check it out. I said that the first thing you need to start doing is doing little tests. 48 to 72, 96 frames max, okay? But around 48 to 72 frame ing shots. All right, Sean Kelly likes to say this. It's well known in the industry that you need to just flex your muscles by doing ing shots. What does that mean? Turning, inhaling, swiping, nodding, just any type of one sort of antic physical actions. All right, and they're between 2 to 4 seconds long. And what you'll get is a really, really good sense of how to start, work on, and complete a shot. I won't go too much into it because you can go back and you can read the article that I'm talking about. But one of the side effects of this is that you have repetition of success. You have success after success after success, and it feels really good. Okay? And when you start doing that, all of a sudden you start feeling like you actually are improving instead of having this pie in the sky dream. Well, I'm going to be a Pixar animator, and then every single shot you do doesn't look like Pixar, so you failed. You feel like you failed, and it's just failure after failure after failure. So you can't fail forward. You have to really succeed in your own mind and in your eye to feel like you're moving forwards. Okay, so that's one of the side effects, and that's why it's super important to do this on your demo reel as well, okay? To have sort of rapid fire, just show them, look, I can do a jump, I can do a run, I can do a guy falling down, I can do a guy opening a door, lighting a cigarette, taking off a coat, kicking a door open, opening a car door, cutting a tomato, whatever it is. All these really short tests are really good for your demo reel, okay? It keeps it interesting as well. As it edits and as it goes and as it just flashes by, it feels like a bigger volume of work. If you have 10 3-second shots on your demo reel, it will feel way more full than 3 10-second shots. Okay? And but you do need that variety though. So variety is the spice of life. So those little tests, those 2 to 4 second shots, maybe one kind of more intricate long shot where it's very physical, and then 1 to 3, 2 is a good number of like full body acting, 100%. You're not hiding anything. You're not sitting them behind a table or hiding their legs or framing it oddly or getting away with anything. Full body acting of a dialogue shot, of a dialogue sequence. Really, really deep study of the character and the motivation there, okay? So like 11 Second Club is great, all right? So the perfect demo reel, just one more time, is 4 or 5 ing shots. 1, maybe 2, but 1 is fine, more involved, kind of impressive physical shot, okay? And then 2 11-second clubs, and this is like the perfect reel, all right? And you'd want to go like this, boop, like that, just like in terms of the order, like that, and then you're done. You're done. As you start working on stuff, don't add to your reel. If your reel starts getting up to like a minute 30, minute 40, just, you know what? Take away some of the things that are a little bit older and put some new stuff on. It's weird, but we can almost tell if this is a new thing you've done or if it's been on your reel forever, okay? So don't be afraid of pushing stuff off your reel as you get new things, okay? It's very, very common. It's necessary, I would say, all right? And now, how do you know when a studio, when you should send it to a studio? All right, that's a good question. I like to say, don't you decide that you're not ready for a studio. Let them tell you that you're not ready for the studio. All right, so send it in. There's no harm as long as your reel represents your current, most up-to-date and best workflow. Then there's no harm in sending it to a studio. They're not going to think that you're like, let's say you know that you can do better and that you are still improving and whatever. Once you send in a new reel, they will love seeing that improvement. So let me tell you this. I like to hire people that improve more than I like to hire people who like are maybe have like like, for instance, contacted me a long time ago and only now sent me a reel and it's only like 2 tests and I know that they worked like just on those 2 tests that whole time. Even if they're really, really good, I'd rather have someone who is constantly sending out a reel, constantly updating it, constantly improving themselves, okay? So how often should you send it to a studio? The rule is it has to be at least 3 months and you have to have at least 2 major updates to your reel. And a major update would be all of those ing shots are totally new. So you got rid of all the other ones and you have that. The physical test, if you had 2 of them, they should be somewhere between like 5 and 10 seconds long, and they should be pretty intricate and involved. So if you had 2 of them, those 2 things are new. Or 2 brand new 11-second club entries. All right, so 11 seconds of multi-character, multi-camera dialogue sequence. 2 of those would be good as well. But you have to have that at least that substantial of a difference between the last reel you sent in and the new reel. Otherwise, you're going to kind of piss people off because they're going to be like, this guy, we said we were going to contact you if we see a fit. And that's the thing. You want to make sure that when you get that email back that says, you know, feel free to reapply in 6 months, maybe it'll say 6 months. But normally they say, please keep us updated with your availability and your current work or whatever. They'll say something to that effect, okay? So you want to make sure you're looking at that, but you don't want to make these people angry by just submitting the same stuff over and over again. If you've sent a reel out, then hopefully your best work is your best work compared to the reel as well. So meaning that first and second spot. So you have to re-edit your reel every single time you come up with a new shot as well. All right. Now, if it's been 3 months, okay, so if it's been a quarter and you have at least 2 major updates to your reel, you should send an email that says your name. The subject should be your name, and then your position you're looking for, and then updated reel. And that's it, okay? So Kenny Roy, animator, updated reel. And then the first thing should be the link to your reel. And then underneath that it would say, Dear Sir, Madam, or if you already know the name, let's say it's Mrs. Smith. Dear Mrs. Smith, I applied back in January. However, I have updated my reel and I've been working really hard on improving my, let's say they do character animate or CG features or whatever. I've been working hard on my character performance work, or let's say they do visual effects. I would say I've been working really hard on my realistic animation and I thought I would update you with my latest reel. Thank you for your time. Kenny Roy, that's it. You're done. Okay? Maybe attach your resume, just make sure that they have it. Okay? So you don't want to bother them. You don't want to reintroduce yourself, like tell them your life story. You can do that in your original cover letter. And the cover letter that I wrote in an article, 2 articles back, is the cover letter guide. So you have that as well at your fingertips. Okay, and then there's some issues that kind of they're all a gamble. For instance, like, can you have like crude humor? I know if you apply to Blur, they don't care. They're very crude. They love like the disgusting and the vulgar and all that stuff. They don't care. They love it. I know if you apply to Pixar, you probably shouldn't have your Spike and Mike's, sick and twisted animation entry on there. They might have, if it's beautifully animated and the gag is secondary, then they might. But if it's about like someone getting his head stuck up his own butt, and that's what's funny about it, and that's all, then obviously it's inappropriate for Pixar. Pretty much everyone has a good sense of humor, but the animation has to be that much better if you are applying to a place where your humor doesn't quite fit in. Okay? Game studios are very lax because they mostly do realistic stuff and it has a lot of violence and whatever. So if you have realistic animation that's very violent, again, that probably doesn't have a place at DreamWorks, but EA or Insomniac or Naughty Dog, any of these places, they love to see that. Okay, so just don't do anything that's in like universally bad taste, nothing racist or sexist or disgusting like bestiality or pedophilia or anything like that. I feel like that should go without saying, so I'm sure that's not news for anybody here. And then in terms of how to make your reel stand out, well, I hate to say it, but as you can tell from the past 11 Second Club entries, it does help to have it rendered. There's just something about watching, animation that looks like there's, heavy air that the character's actually breathing and, taking into their lungs and delivering the lines with. There's just something about that people like to watch, and I do think that it helps a little bit. So it's not too difficult to learn how to light your scenes and render your scenes, but if you can't do it, what you should do? You should go to one of these places. Like 11 Second Club might be a little bit sparse on these kind of people, but like CG Talk or CG Channel, and say, like, I'm an animator, I have an awesome demo reel, but I need it rendered. Can we share shots? And what that means is that you're looking for a lighter and a renderer and a compositor to take your finished animated scenes, and then they light render and composite them, and they put them on their reels, like, hey, I lit and rendered and composited this, and you can put on your reel and you say, I animated this. Okay? So that makes, that's a win-win, because, there's compositors and lighters and renderers out there that are looking for cool animated shots. Okay? So I do recommend that you kind of, hunt that stuff down. Do not submit playblasts. It just does not cut it anymore, and I'm sorry to say. It may cut it if you are an absolute phenomenon of animation and at one of like the really big places like Pixar. But like, I do not think that even if you're a phenomenon, it would be in your best interest to submit playblasts to a place like DD or Rhythm and Hues. Okay? And then finally, you can obviously edit it together and do some creative editing. You should, if you are interested in trying to improve your demo reel by editing it in a certain way that people are going to like, obviously it's outside the purview of KennyRoy.com or this Videomail for me to tell you how to edit it. But think up some good music and make sure that your music is not grating, or it's not like your own like personal style. I hate to say it, but there are some styles that if I hear it, I immediately mute it, and if the animation is not unbelievably awesome, I delete it, or I stop the DVD or whatever immediately. And that would be like death metal or I don't know what else besides that, but just like really seriously grading music, it doesn't count towards your creativity that you did that. Okay. You want your ideas to be original, and that's why your demo reel is your calling card, because it's supposed to speak towards your originality as well as your technique. So that being the case, you have to be planning your demo reel while you're working on your animation, while you're working on your tests. Okay? So every single time you do like even a little test, even like picking up something, like putting on a glove, right? No matter what it is, you got to have just a little bit of variety in there. So, instead of just doing it, vanilla, you might get it on and then might think like, oh my God, there's something on the, no, there's not. And then finish putting it on, something like that. Every single thing you have to do, you have to put a little bit of originality into it. And then as a whole, your demo reel will feel very original. Okay, so just a real quick run through. Best work on there. Put them in an order that's going to keep the interest of the person that's watching it. Submit it once per quarter and with 2 major updates to it. It should have ing shots on it. It should have some physical work, and it should have at least 2 really serious character animation pieces where you're not hiding anything, full body acting head to toe. Okay, and then besides that, it's just going to come down to your and how strong your animation is, and that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to help you with. Okay, so thank you for that great question. Thank you for voting on the question so that it was answered in a video mail, and I'm looking forward to polling you guys for some upcoming video mails, and look out for that as well. But you should still be submitting questions if you want a question answered in a video like this one. Send your question to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I promise I read it. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. Okay? One last thing, the referral contest is still going on. If you refer a friend and they put your name into the referrer box on the form, on the submission form, you are automatically credited with 1 referral, and the person who has the most referrals wins How to Cheat in Maya 2012. Okay? Brand new book. I'll send it to you no matter where you are. All right, cool. That's just about it. Thanks for the great question. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.